in your opinion, is there room for compromise here? Like, what should be non-negotiable? Wearing of face shields on mass transportation, for example, in those waiting lines at the edge of busway, for example. Is there room here for compromise?
So let me take that. The science shows that the face shield adds about 10% more protection against COVID transmission. And when I was asked that question earlier today, I pointed out that this is a risk-benefit balance, right? So you can imagine, for example, if a region of the Philippines is in ECQ and the risk of getting COVID is substantially higher than that in MGCQ, we may associate face shields with higher lockdown quarantine requirements. So if you are in ECQ and it's very hot, then every protection is good. If you're an MGCQ and you're outside running, and the risk of getting COVID is very slim, then you are willing to lower your protection by 10%. So, but I asked the government to make it simple and consistent, because right now there is so much confusion. Even my mother today had no idea what she was supposed to do when she went outside to water the plants. So
Father,
my mother follows
come in.
the rule, and she would put her face, when she goes outside, she puts her mask, she puts her face shield just to go to the garden to water her plants. And today she was asking me, because she heard on the news that the president had talked about, so she said, do I have to wear my face shield to go outside to the garden? Now, I pointed out to her that she has not left our house in 15 months. And there is no one in the garden, so technically she can remove the face shield. But my mother will follow whatever the rule is. And I think there's much confusion. So whatever the rule is, it has to be incredibly consistent, right? And the danger now is that no one knows what to do, so no one does anything.
Yeah.
That is a danger. When you have a point of confusion and nobody is certain which rule is to be followed.
Yeah. Well, then they will just not follow it.
Professor Rice, the room for compromise, do you think? Like, for example, you limit to workplaces or to the MRT or jeepneys, the wearing of face shields?
Yeah, I think there's always room for compromise. It's just that these pronouncements have to go to the regular channels. We have a system now, it's the IATF, and it's been doing a credible job in terms of managing the pandemic. So what I am suggesting as a governance scholar is that this has to be done in a systematic way and should be harmonized with science and data. Number two, we have to give time for the information to cascade down officially and for local governments to recalibrate their ordinances. Remember, IATF only provides the policy guidelines.
Yes.
It's the local governments
LGU.
of this country that will implement them, and they implement them largely through ordinances. And many of these local governments have already made ordinances for face shield and face mask. Some enforce them with penalties and sanctions. Others just simply monitor and enforce without any sanction. So we need to calibrate all of these things. And now, because of what happened, the decision may be about face shields, mandatory or not, maybe an open debate. But the way it came out in the media, from one government undersecretary first, then from a member of the legislature, it creates confusion, and this is not the kind of governance we need at the moment, especially now when we're trying to just, exit out of a surge and trying to sustain the gains whilst we're waiting for a big surge in vaccinations. This is not the kind of thing that we want, no? The messaging.
How do you?
We disagree with the messaging.
Right. I agree with you, but how do you expect the president to walk back on it now? And how soon? I mean, if that's even going to happen. Kasi, di ba, parang it's already precisely, let's just call it awkward, because that's what it is. I mean, so the president finally, when we had all but settled in the position that, face shields are required, okay? Then all of a sudden the president says, you know what? Face shields, you don't have to wear them except when you're in the hospital. And now today, wala pa 24 hours, sinasabi na nai-appeal. But do you really, I mean, in terms of governance, Professor Wright, you think it's a good idea for the president to walk back on his statement just less than 24 hours, or let's just say by tomorrow? Ganon? Di ba nakakalito
There's
rin
always
yun?
to be fair to the president, no, he was also advised, and he was given advice by the people around him at that time. Now, with the benefit of an appeal from the IATF, maybe we can calibrate this. We can gradually, improve, how we're going to use face shields, and maybe together with local governments, we can make it less mandatory. We can specify where they have to be utilized. Maybe for me, critical sa akin is public utility vehicles. We need to have face shields there. It will become, the PUVs will become vectors, facilitators of, viral spread in this country, especially in the National Capital Region, without those face shields. So, this is the key thing. If we're going to take the face shields out, we're going to have to minimize the number of people inside vehicles, reduce the number, increase the spacing. The face shield, remember, was the compromise for increasing the number of people inside vehicles. Again, we need time. My own problem is not the president, deciding this or that. That's his right as president. But the thing is, it should have come out in not the way it came out. No, it created confusion. It should have come out in a new IATF guideline or ruling, and even the IATF was caught off guard, and that's why there is an attempt to appeal. And I believe the president, given the preponderance of science and data, will make adjustments in his own initial position.